All right. Strap on in for another episode of Breaking the Mould. I'm your host, Sean Greer. Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Voltex Services, the punctual tradies that treat your home like a home and not like a job site. And Element Interiors, commercial shop fitting company bringing your lifelong dream to reality. On today's episode of the podcast, we got the great and wonderful guests, Simon and Piers from the podcast Off Your Mind. Hey guys, how you going?
Good, thank you.
Mate.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, all that.
You too, mate.
To you.
How did 2020 wrap up for you guys?
It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was good. Obviously, it was a bit of a strange year.
Yeah.
A bit of a blessing in disguise for myself. Finished my study and started up my own marketing business, so it was quite good. But yeah, solid into the year. Obviously, Adelaide got out of lockdown.
Yeah.
So we were moving around quite well.
I think we were very, very lucky in the position we are in
much so.
in Adelaide. Like, we
Yeah,
dodged a few
100%.
bullets, you know.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, that's great. Tell us a little bit about your podcast and how you guys met.
Well, me and Pierce have known each other since we were in year 7.
Yeah.
So about 11, 12 years old.
Yep.
And I think the podcast, it was start of lockdown, wasn't it? Like January 2020. And I've listened to a lot of podcasts and
Yeah.
I was listening to Dylan Buckley's Dylan Friends.
Yep.
And I rang Pierce and I said, what do you reckon about doing a podcast? And we've both been through our own mental health battles. And we're like, do you want to focus on like youth mental health or sort of up
Great.
to age 30 mental health? And he's like, I think we could probably do that. And so from there we just researched and
Yeah.
we're able to get it out pretty quick actually in the end.
Yeah,
So,
it was quite strange. I think
Yeah.
A lot of times you think of something with your mate and you don't really go ahead with it. But it was one of those things that we were both quite passionate about in mental health, and we just sort of hit the ground running, and everything that we sort of accumulated with the knowledge, we were thinking that, this is something that we could do. So
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It was
No,
definitely a trial and error sort of stuff.
It was.
I guess
Yeah.
what one of those things is the values you guys pushing is it is to help the mental health awareness, especially in males. There's a bit of a stereotype that we're okay and just battle on.
100%.
You'll be
And
fine.
We've
Yeah.
both been involved in sporting clubs
Oh yeah.
and through a range of sort of levels. So, and we certainly realised that that's a massive problem.
Yeah,
And
it's
just-
huge.
I guess blokes are just crap about talking about their feelings, really.
Yeah.
It is
Bottom
getting
line.
better,
Yeah.
but to have a space where we can actually project some of these voices in the community that have gone through this, that's been pretty
Yeah, it's
rewarding.
cool.
Yeah.
It's also nice for people out there to not to understand they're not alone.
Definitely.
And I think that's a
Exactly right.
massive battle when the guys don't talk about it. They also think that they're alone as well.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
reality is that the guy next to you is probably going through the same thing but just doesn't want to talk about it.
We've probably all gone through it in some way or another. So then I think that's the
Don't doubt
biggest
that.
thing. So.
Yeah, don't doubt that at all. So that's about the podcast. So what kind of guests do you guys get on there, and how did it blossom into what it is today?
We really try and diversify our guest list. So
Yeah.
obviously we've both been involved in sports. So we don't just want footy players. We don't just want soccer players. So we've got people who's that, Ali and
Ebony.
They were really good to have on. Two
They-
girls that run their own sort of mental health program through their clothing line.
Oh, cool.
And so, it was really
right.
good. And we had a guy that's one of our brother's mates, and he was about mid-40s.
Yeah.
So it was good to get just different perspectives.
Yeah, well, people are on their own different journeys, aren't they?
Exactly.
Well, yeah.
right.
I mean, in our bio, it's talking to people from different walks of life, and that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
We've really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And it's also helped us on our journey as well. I think
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that I've gotten over my depression or anxiety completely, and I don't think I ever will. But I think it's dealing with the issues that you have, and I think talking to these sorts of people has sort of helped. I'm not sure about you, but it's helped me sort of
Reconcile.
reconcile and sort of deal with issues better than I had done years ago.
Yeah, wow. That's awesome. And as I've learned as well through the process I'm going through, learned mindset.
Big time.
And what a great way to improve yourself through that, and then also sharing that knowledge is just like, it's amazing.
Because the only way you can get better and learn is through experience. And if you can
100%.
have as much experience from other people as possible,
Yeah.
that'll definitely go a long way.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I've battled with depression, anxiety, small levels of PTSD. I used to play semi-professional ice hockey, and it was pretty full-on sport, and various things like that have happened. And I went to a psychologist, and I guess I've heard good and bad reviews about psychologists. Mine was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was undeniable what she was showing me was undeniable. Like, just what happened is I was in an altercation, got attacked, and then I had every time I'd go out somewhere, I'd sit with my back against the wall. Always on the ready to go, ready to pounce. Just, you know, I didn't even realize it. Didn't even check in my head that's what I was doing. But it was just like a secondary response. And I was sitting in this thing, and I'm going, oh, it's gonna be rubbish going to see this and do this. And then I sat there, and I said, she goes, oh, you've got this. You've got mild PTSD and depression. And I was like, oh yeah. And she's like, well, do you know how I know that? And I was like, how? She goes, grab that book. And she's like, turn to page 85 and read me the symptoms. And I was like, ding, 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 like every one. And I was like, holy crap. In that instant, I'm not alone. They know what they're talking about. And I say this to my friends all the time, that they're a bit egotistical, especially in the trade world. Oh, I'm a male, all this.
Yeah.
I say to them, are you good at your job? They say, yeah. Like, I'm a good Sparky. They are as good as you at your job at their job.
Yeah.
They know everything about your emotions, your brain, as you know about the electrical system or the plumbing system. And that's how I'm trying to contextualize it with the guys.
Yeah. Yep.
And then also spread the word that I've had it. I've got it. You know, I've had depression. I've have / you know, there's ups and downs, as you guys know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what were some of the things that you've learned from your journey so far that have helped you in your day-to-day life overcome it?
I think, just going off what you said before, I think I also saw a psychologist, and I think it's very much you get out what you put in.
Yeah.
So if you're a closed book when you see a psychologist,
100% massive.
you're not going to get anything out of it. And I think I saw 2 or 3 psychologists, and the first person I saw, I was, like yourself, a bit skeptical about it. I was a bit younger, so I didn't really want to open up with someone that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And I ended up doing my 10 sessions with her and didn't really feel any better when I got out of it. And I ended up seeing someone else. And by that stage, I was a bit further along my journey, and I could speak about it a bit more freely, and I got so much more out of it. So yeah, I think, and it's one of those things when you don't want to talk, you almost want to be alone, and you're in a very like sorry space, and you feel bad for yourself and all that sort of stuff. And I feel as though once you start talking, you do realize, like yourself, you have got these people around you that are here to help. Yeah. And that's sort of what helped me as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was much the same. I mean, when I first saw a psychologist, I think I was 18.
Yeah.
It was a school psychologist. And then I saw one after school, and I still didn't really, I don't think I got much out of it, but I think I got more out of it looking back now than I thought, because I wasn't aware of sort of the triggers and what was helping me. And then I went and saw one when I was 21, 22, and straight away you could tell the difference. So it's just, I think just keep plugging away at it, and knowing that you're not going to be cured is almost a good thing, because you've got sort of a journey you can go on with it. You can't go into a doctor and they give you a tablet.
Oh, it's work.
It's done. Yeah, it's work.
It's work, you know. It's,
you've got to be patient.
Yeah. It starts off with a high level of consciousness, I believe. And
definitely.
A lot of things, just simple things for myself that I've done is I've just started making good decisions. And if at the time, if I had a bad self-image of myself, who do I think is good? All right, what are their actions? What are the steps they're taking? So I would just start my days by just doing, like, you know, all the stuff like making your bed and all that simple stuff, right? Little pats on the back, you know, doing the dishes, cleaning the house, not complaining about the house, not complaining about the dishes, and then I just started to shift my mindset from complaining to being grateful. Absolutely. And then, you know, as wrong as things might seem that they're going, it's like I'm learning no matter what now.
I think one of the biggest things you can do in your life, and you read about the most successful people, they've got a routine and structure. Yeah. And control what you can control first. Absolutely. And you're not going to worry about the stuff that you can't control. Exactly. If you just worry about that stuff, you're going to fall into a hole. Exactly. So control those little things, and you'll win parts of your day anyway, even if it's not going that well.
Exactly. And and that's the thing, you can't crucify yourself. Especially in the business world, I can only do what I can do, and to my knowledge, in the time. The only time I should feel bad is if I'm not actually doing if I know that I'm not giving it my all.
Exactly.
And that's the only time you should be a little bit hard on yourself, and then reflect on why. You know, is your passion dropping? Are you interested anymore? You know,
you still need to uphold standards and stuff like that, I feel. And I think that's
absolutely.
No, it's good.
Absolutely. So what were some of the issues you guys faced through your challenges you went through with high school and things like that? And how did you combat those?
For me, I didn't really. Well, I had a light bulb sort of moment.
Mm-hmm.
So we had in year 12. I don't know if you remember, we had like lots of people come in from outside the industry and talk, and we had a guy that came in who specifically spoke about depression, anxiety, and he sort of dot pointed stuff that he went through, and I'm sitting in the front row going, yep, like that's all me there. And then next day I go to the counsellor at school, and I didn't really understand that all the stuff that was built up when I was younger and through high school led to me having depression, anxiety.
Yeah.
So it was it all sort of came to a head, and then it took me quite a few years to get over that because it sort of came at once, and it was pretty hard.
Yeah.
Since I was about 17 to get through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess with me, I've never been amazing at study. So it was always sort of the trying to find what I liked, what I didn't like. And by year 12, it was sort of, I didn't really know what I liked. I didn't know what I wanted to do afterwards. And I guess it sort of snowballed. There was, in high school, obviously, there's girls and you wanting to have like relationships and stuff like that. And so I think everything sort of came together, and which was making me feel really, really bad. And then, after year 12, I think quite a lot of drinking, going out probably more than I should have been, and focusing on the wrong things. And not having that path of work that I knew that I was that was on the journey to. I was sort of in limbo, not doing anything. And that's when I think my mental health sort of spiraled out of control.
Yeah. Feeling lost. And as I said, sorry for myself. And I didn't really know what I was getting up for in the day. And that's when it that was the end of the road for me, really. I didn't know how to, act. I didn't know what to do with my mental health. So that's when, I think it was like 2014. I think it was after a night out. I think I was drinking, and that was when I was just like, nah, I can't do this anymore. And that's when, I was at home and, tried to take my own life, but it was obviously the lowest point of my life. And I remember just contacting my brother and his girlfriend, just saying, can you please get here now? Otherwise something really, really, really bad is going to happen. And I just remember that was, as bad as it is, that was my light bulb moment. And I've listened to podcasts and I've listened to documentaries, and it's almost like when people are on the edge, that's when they know. And I watched that Golden Gate Bridge documentary, and the people that have survived say once they've jumped, they realise they shouldn't have jumped. And that was sort of what happened with me. Is I got to that point and I was like, this isn't me. Like, I'm not sure why or how I've gotten to this point, but I need help. And that's when I sort of went to go see someone. So it was quite daunting for me at that age. Yeah, wow. Yeah. I just want to say thank you for calling your brother, man. Like, the world's a better place with you in it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
You're positively impacting people, and that's a very, very dark place that you would have been in.
Yeah, no, well, thanks for having us on your podcast as well.
Oh, no problem, mate. Yeah, absolutely.
So when me and Simon started, we weren't too sure how we were going to attack the podcast. Obviously, we try and focus on mental health. And I think it's episode 3. We interviewed 2 people, and we're like, how do we expect people to come on here when we haven't fully opened up ourselves? Yeah. And I think that's the first time Simon and I probably sat down together and spoke about our being best mates. The first time we'd sat down and spoken about our mental health issues. Yeah. Properly and on a microphone, and we knew it was going to go out to people, and that was quite daunting in itself. But I think after I did that, I felt a lot more confident in talking about it, and having said those things made me confident that someone close to me, someone not so close to me, someone listening might be going through the same thing. Yeah. And it's sort of comforting to hear that you're not the only one going through a battle like that. It's
that self-acceptance as well, and that self-understanding. Yeah. Like, just because you're going through something bad doesn't mean it's a bad thing. So once we had that conversation in episode 3 and got it out there, it was, well, okay, like, we've owned up to this now pretty much, and people know about it, and let's just attack it instead of being sorry for something that we can't really control in a way.
Absolutely. What do you think was one of the biggest things you learned on a positive side out of, so once you made that phone call to your brother, what was the next day? What was the feelings?
To be completely honest, it was embarrassment.
Okay.
And I remember having this massive bandage around my arm, and I was completely embarrassed, and I wanted to hide it as much as I could. Although I knew I needed help, I didn't want to accept that I needed help initially.
Yeah.
And I think because mum and dad both didn't know at the time, it was just my brother and his girlfriend, and I was sort of trying as hard as I could to keep it secret. But after I'd spoken to mum about it, which was quite a daunting time, saying that I'm not okay, and it was obviously quite upsetting for her to hear that her son wasn't okay.
There must have been a sigh of relief off your shoulders.
There was. And after I did speak to mum, it sort of was not everyone's here to make your life a living hell.
Yeah.
There's people around you that want to help.
Yeah.
And there's people around you that love you
Absolutely.
unconditionally and want you to be okay.
Yeah.
And that's when I sort of found that talking to my friends was okay, talking to my family was okay. And that's when it started to, I guess, improve. Yeah.
Yeah, the communication level went through the roof,
100%, yeah.
I got 2 little girls, and I'm trying to have this open conversations about all this stuff with them, and this is a part that really pushes me to do all this stuff and talk about these issues, because it's not at the forefront. It's getting better. Don't get me wrong, it's better than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I just hope that my daughters, if they ever were in that situation, that they can come to me, and anyone else in that situation, like, go to your parents. Like, they're there to nurture you and care for you, know, and you're not going to be in trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Well, that's I grew up in a household, and I was incredibly privileged growing up, and my parents did also try and portray that, but it was a strange time, because, as I said, I almost felt embarrassed that I was feeling as bad as I did, because I saw these people around me that were going through things that seemed so much more.
Yeah.
And as Simon has touched on, that everyone's on a different journey.
Absolutely.
And everyone's got something, and
everyone's perspective is their reality.
Exactly right.
You can never tell just from face value, like, what they're perceiving of the world.
Yeah.
And if it's all dark,
you can't rank emotion either.
Exactly.
So you can't criticize yourself against someone else. What
you can't compare.
We had a mate as well who he lost his mother, and he always said to us, like, I shouldn't feel that bad because someone's going through something worse. It's like, nah, mate,
you can feel bad
however you want
and feel it.
Yeah, and tell us about it if you need to.
Feel it, reconcile it. Let's talk about it.
Exactly.
And then it's an amazing story, and it's profound that you went through this stuff, and thank God your brother was there and picked up.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's tough to think back on, but I'm just really grateful that I've got the family that I do, and obviously the mates that I do. That I'm here today talking to you and pushing the message that is mental health, and that it's important to speak up. And as I've said, there's people around that want the best for you. They want you to be okay, and they love you. So
that's exactly right. And look, you guys are doing a great thing on the podcast. We're talking about the mental health and making it more aware, and you're standing up for something. Yeah. And you mightn't realise how much that impact is going to ripple. How much you save one person or help one person, you've done your job for your life.
Yeah.
It's not about just someone finding, even in this conversation, someone finding comfort. It's just that one person you want to help, and it's a great journey to be on. And I could imagine that it will get you guys out of bed, sprightly every day, and have some passion and go, fuck, we're going to do it. We're going to make some difference here,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Could you share sort of one practice or a resource for anyone out there that can, to help and things like that?
Just really simple stuff. Don't overcomplicate it. So my big ones are writing things down.
Yep.
Doing a pros and cons list.
Yeah.
That really helps me, especially in hard decision making. It just gets like, obviously when you're thinking, you're in your own head and you think, oh, I'll remember all this stuff. But if you write it down and visualize it, it's much easier. And I'm finding lately breathing technique is really,
massive.
Really important and massive, and something you can control pretty easily on your own. But it takes a lot to learn how to do it properly. And there's a few podcasts, and if there's information on the internet to help you along with that. But that just simple stuff. People sometimes try and overcomplicate things, and I think, and just finding what's right for you, testing a few things out, and you'll find something.
Regulating your emotions with that breath is something that I guess a lot of people wouldn't have known about until, it's like a new thing, but it's old. Like, it's the oldest thing we've ever done is breathe.
Exactly. It's weird, isn't it?
We're just now working out the powers of it, right?
Because I was one that definitely let emotion get the better of me. And when I was in my really bad stage, I would just let the emotion override me and almost feel better by feeling worse.
Right.
It was strange. And
you're comfort. That's your safe space. You're comfortable in that world. That's what you know, right?
Yeah, exactly. And now using those few things, you can sort of bring yourself out of it.
Yeah. Wow. I'm trying to teach my little ones when they're only 3 and 1, but literally when they have a meltdown, I just sit down next to them and breathe. Yeah. I'm just trying to get them into that. I'm trying to be the calm in their storm and teach them to regulate their emotion from a young age, and just sit there and I literally just go like, it's okay. Let's breathe. Yeah. Take a deep breath in, out.
You'd be surprised how quickly they just
and turn. It's amazing, man. Like once they get back into a headspace when they can start taking in some form of information, because sometimes in the younger kids, it's just gone. Like they just aren't registering, right? So it's like,
well, there's just too much.
It's just too much. They're trying to process it. They don't even know what the feelings are. They don't know where to put them. They're trying to find boxes they don't have, and you're trying to, all you need to do is just be there with them and then help them through that, and then talk out the situation with a child. Don't just stop crying. Like that's like, how's that going to help?
Not going to do anything.
Like sit down with them. They're going through something. They're growing. They're feeling pain. They're not understanding. Breathe. And that's, it's a great thing that people can use as every day. Like if things get bad at work and stuff, or if I'm in intense situations, sometimes in negotiations, I'll just do a quick and breathe. I don't care if anyone sees me do it. Yeah. I need to do it. Yeah. Otherwise I'm going to start breathing in my chest. Yeah. And that's the thing, the breath down to the diaphragm, like really get it in deep. And I think it's the one I'm doing is 6, 6 and 6. So 6 in, 6 hold, 6 out. Yeah. And it really helps. Yeah. If I do that 4 times, I'm like, I'm back, Zen, man. Yeah. Like I'm ready to tackle the world again.
I reckon I might pass out if I did 6.
I started off in 4 and 4 and 4s, but then I was like, all right, it's time to take the next level.
I guess like Simon said, there's lots of things you can do. For me, I mean, flex, but the Apple Watch, it's got a breathe thing. So if it feels my heart rate going above something, there's like a thing that pops up on the screen that says breathe, and it vibrates your in and then vibrates.
No, my one does that too. That's really cool, isn't it?
Yeah, so that I use that quite a lot. And then a resource, I guess, is just a psychologist, like we mentioned before. If things are getting ever too much, I think they're a great resource. They're there to help. Yeah. And they're great.
I think you touched on as well the 10 sessions. A lot of people out there don't know that you can actually get a mental health plan from your GP.
And it's now 20.
It's gone up to 20 because of COVID.
The new budget.
Yeah, so
last year was 20. Yeah.
So that's a free mental health sessions 10. All you need to do is go to the doctor and explain what's going on in your life, and then they can actually find it. I didn't know about that until I actually was kind of friends with through other people with my psychologist. So I had a bit of rapport with her already, which was really easy for me to open up to her. Yeah. And that, as you said, opening up was a big thing.
Mm-hmm. That's a great initiative that they've implemented. Those, I think. I mean, I didn't know about it. My mum knew about it. So it was another thing. It's like, mum's like, you need to go see a psychologist. I was like, well, I don't have any money. It's just one of those, another thing that just adds.
Aren't they $150 an hour?
Unfortunately, still, there's 20 sessions a year, which is really good, but you still have to front the money and then you get the rebate. But at least it is a free service now, which is good.
That's right, which is just fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you wouldn't mind if I ask you a question.
Go for it.
How did the initiative of your job now come about? Obviously, giving the opportunity to young kids. Where did that come from?
So I come from pretty humble beginnings. Dyslexic, ADHD. Mm-hmm. So as compiled on that, my home life, my academic was very, very low. Yeah. And in that era of schooling, I was always told that I was stupid, and I had teachers tell me that I would amount to nothing.
Far out.
And for a 16-year-old kid to already have a shaky beginning and have a learning disability,
mm-hmm.
hyphens. And, I wasn't interested in the subjects, because coupled with the ADHD. So I knew pretty quick that I wasn't going to end up going to university, which I believe that schools are, they shepherd you that way, and then if you're in school, I'm going to be a tradie. Most of the time, it's like a dirty word. You're like, oh, you're going to be a tradie? Are you serious? Why aren't you going to go to uni? It's like, well, okay, I don't really know, mate, but this isn't an option for me.
Yeah.
So since all that journey, transponded, and then I have I had an awakening probably a year ago where I had my business. I picked my trade back in the day, and I did it. And then when I started my business, I wanted to create an environment where people were happy at work, where I actually changed the industry. And what that would look like would be people like tradies rocking up on time, people not inflaming their costs when they, give a quote, stand by your quote, all these sorts of things that I would see that would really gripe me being an honest person, is why I started the business. And then I had an awakening a year ago where I went to an event, and in 3 days, my whole life just changed. I got caught up in the business world, trying to make money and doing all these things and all this stuff. And I was like, and then after that weekend, I was like, what am I actually doing?
Yeah.
I'm not changing anything. I'm not doing what I set it out to do. And then I started thinking, what can I do? What's this? What can I do? What didn't I have that I can create? So then I decided that, I was going to go down the path of educating young adults on the trade world, because the reality is there's not that much information out there that isn't trying to sell you into a lane.
Yeah, exactly.
So my take on it is we're the first business ever to produce a document that is about all trades, that gives you the options and breaks it down per service industry. So you've got plumbing, electrical and air conditioning, commercial, residential and industrial. And then you learn what they are from the age of 16 to 21.
Yep.
Anyone can go on it. And then you actually get to read before you get into your apprenticeship what the hell you're signing up for, and it's got tips in there, like simple things, tips, what tools you're going to be using. It also has things about, what is it? Like what wages you're going to be on, what's the day-to-day life look like, what are you going to be doing?
Because there's so much information if you've been an accountant or a journalist.
Yeah.
There's heaps.
Yeah.
They're degrees you study, but
Exactly.
trades like, just go on.
Just go be a tradie.
For 4 years, go to your apprenticeship.
Yeah. And then a lot of my friends are like, if I knew this about the trade, I wouldn't have done it. I would have done this.
Yeah.
And it's like they just made a split decision, signed up for a 4-year apprenticeship, and then they've gone, I'm too deep now.
Yeah.
I can't change.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that really, really bugged me. So I'm trying to get everyone to have an informed decision of what they're signing up for.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like if you are going to be an electrician, what area do you want to work in?
Exactly.
Well then don't get a job with a residential Sparky if you want to be a commercial Sparky.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
it seems simple, but
but those things, they weren't even in my mind. I was just get a job, didn't care. And some forethought needs to be in it, because if you want to be passionate, you want to stick around, you got to do what you want to do.
Exactly.
Right? And then, that's what blossomed to we do a resume thing, because when I was younger, I asked my parents, hey, I need to write a resume. I wanted money to do things, go out and, drive my car around and things like that. I said, hey, how do I write a resume? And they're like, we haven't written a resume in 10 years. I don't know. And that's not their fault, but that was when PCs were just coming out, playing bloody the first version of Grand Theft Auto. And the old boy's like, nah, mate, I don't know how to do that. So that was what we've done on there. Was we've created 3 templates where they can work with those templates and then design a resume and then get a job.
Yeah.
So it's really, as I said, about informing them. And then there's a support structure. So in the trade industry, there is a lot of stuff around what happens to apprentices and how they get treated. Some of them get paid unfairly. Some of them get taken advantage of. I'm creating a a closed Facebook. I've created a closed Facebook group where these guys can create a community, and our industry partners, which is normally a fee to join, they can ask questions and find out without having to pay those huge fees.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Right?
It's an awesome initiative.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, thanks. I'm trying to.
No, it's really good because I think, especially we have heaps of mates that are tradies and they get into the industry just because they want a career.
Yeah.
And they're just like, let's go do this 4 years. And I had heaps of mates, a couple that were Sparkies that they did their apprenticeship, got offered full-time work, but didn't take because they didn't want to do it anymore.
Exactly.
It's like...
Exactly. And you've gone down that, you've wasted, and then it's the thing, you've wasted 4 years of your life. You can always go back to the trade if you want to, and they are international. That's the cool thing about trades, but you're also getting paid to study.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, I think a lot I think it's getting better, but especially when we came out of school, it was you go to a trade or you go to uni.
Yeah.
But they're not the only two options in the world.
Of course there's not.
But being informed on both of them, and it's really cool what you're doing.
Yeah. And I'm just trying to spread that word. And, we even had opportunity yesterday. We had an Indigenous group come in that support Indigenous youth. Mm-hmm. And, we're going to be opening up the program for them. And they were saying that, I think it was... They have a program where they get people through from year 8 to year 12. And if they're going to finish year 12, they're 85% less likely to end up incarcerated.
Yeah, wow.
Isn't that just amazing what they're doing? So then we're going to couple that hopefully with our trade program. Yeah. Give people the option of going into the trade world. And, as you said, you were lost coming out of school because you weren't academically inclined. Mm-hmm. And part of the journey is you probably just weren't interested in what school was giving you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not your fault.
Yeah, there was nothing really for me at school, I felt.
Yeah.
And, like Simon mentioned, a lot of the time there were the careers days, but there was nothing there for me either. There'd be people coming and talking about accounting. I was like, well, I don't want to be an accountant or stuff like that. And I felt there was nothing for me. So what you're doing is...
It's how they present it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a dude comes in because he has to. He's just ticking a box. It's come in there with some oof. Yeah. Let's go.
Well, the one person that I remember was Bruce McAvaney that came in.
Bruce was good,
and I feel as though
his kids are at the school, so he had a lot of enthusiasm.
Yeah, a lot of people that did come to these careers days were coming there because they had to.
Yeah.
But the one person that I took, I was a bit excited to see him because he obviously loves his job.
Yeah.
So he's
got a profile.
I can remember he did a horse call for us.
Yeah, so he played vision of horsing just off the cuff, did it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That is, imagine how hard, I've always thought how hard that is. And
it was awesome to hear live.
And just the passion that was coming out of his voice, it was it made me, obviously it didn't make me want to be a race course.
But you want that.
I wanted to be passionate about
You want
something.
that. Yeah, you want that passion, that fire.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it took me 7 years, almost 6 years to find out what I wanted to do. Because I went to uni out of school, hated it. Yeah. Absolutely hated it. And just dove into something because I was like, I like sport, I'll do human movement.
Yeah.
It wasn't really even sport and it was shit.
Yeah.
I hated it. And so quit after a year and just travelled for 4 years.
Nice.
And then was living in Canada and I thought, I want to do this, I want to study. Study.
Whereabouts in Canada were you?
About an hour out of Calgary called Nikiska.
Oh.
Yeah.
I lived in Calgary.
Did you?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I played hockey there. I lived in Calgary and Banff and I played for the Cochrane Generals and Banff Bears,
There you go.
Yeah. I did a stint in Calgary, mate. How good is Calgary?
I was very good.
I love it, mate.
So I lived in the middle of Calgary and Banff. So I was out of Calgary, hour and 10 to Banff.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay, because, you would have known Cochrane then.
Yeah. Cochrane was good.
Yeah. It's cool little towns, eh?
Yeah, and Canmore.
Canmore, yeah. No, that was...
Yeah. But I think the main thing is, and what we didn't actually receive from school is take your time and weigh up your options. And one of the biggest things I learned is just don't dive into anything unless you're sure. You can go out and get casual work, full-time, part-time work, make a living, and then think about it. And when you're in the workforce, especially I found, you really find what you like, don't like, and you can start crossing off some boxes instead of just thinking, I'll do this, or I might do this, and you just get lost.
Exactly.
So when I was working, I was like, business is really interesting to me and I'm passionate about it. I'll go and study that and I want to couple it with sport and that now I'm really committed and passionate about it. I study instead of being I'm just going to do it because I'll get a degree.
Yeah, exactly. You're not just doing something because you need to check a box.
Yeah.
And one of the things that is great for that is a pros and cons list, as you said.
Yeah.
write down, like my friends say to me all the time, how do you do all the stuff you do, like with the businesses and stuff? And I write down what I want to do. Yeah. I go pros, cons, right? Then I address, if there's cons, I address them. Are they going to be detrimental? Do they not align with my value?
Are they worthwhile?
Are they worth it? You know, do I want to do this? You know, and then from that, I create a plan, an action plan. I just start and bite-sized pieces, guys. Just
if you write down your action plan, it is so achievable.
My God.
Like, goal setting is important, but if you just write a goal on the wall and have no plan for it,
exactly.
It just sits there.
It does nothing.
You have no idea.
Yeah, what are you doing to attain that goal?
So when we did a podcast, we wrote everything down. We wrote, these are the steps we're going to take to make our first episode. We weren't thinking about we're going to make 100 episodes. We're going to be what steps we need to take to make episode one. And it really helped us to streamline it.
Yeah, we just like get mics.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's a task, you know, like it's not, let's do a podcast. All right, rock up on Saturday, see you there. It's like, no, because you will fail.
And then learning to edit, learning how to set up microphones is difficult.
Absolutely it is. Yeah, it's a grind, but you guys done it. I like the production quality on yours. It sounds great.
It's getting there.
We're still not happy with it.
You know, but you've got what you got.
Exactly.
And you're learning. You're going to tweak it. You're going to make it perfect.
Yeah, but you're always going to learn.
I mean, I've one of the first ones I've seen of Joe Rogan. He's got a do-rag on and he's just like on. Have you seen that one? He's like, it's the production quality. You can barely see his face.
Yeah. Really,
You know, and that's how he started off, just in his living room on a dining table with mates.
Well, I'll tell you what,
now
if we can end up
$15 million contract with Spotify.
He ain't struggling now.
No, not at all.
But, you know, it's just little improvements every day. And that's the same with the mental health, especially being conscious of your inner dialogue, you know, and catching that out and going... And not... so what I've found with myself is when I'm in that downward spiral, you know, I can get into it. I then have to go, all right, there it is. Yeah. How'd you get here? What's going on? One of the biggest things I've learned to the journey is not to crucify myself getting there.
No, never.
Don't feel bad about being down. What you do is you go, that's interesting. Why am I like this?
I think the most important thing, I've definitely catching what you're saying here, when you initiate that sort of response, you can pick up quicker when you're feeling that downward spiral, so you can just get it straight away.
Yeah. Then go, oh my God, I'm feeling this bad. No. I'm feeling this bad. This is interesting.
Yeah.
Why am I feeling this bad? Right. And then
how can we get out of it? Yeah.
Then you formulate a plan.
Yeah.
Then you're aware next time that trigger, same thing, it's going to be less.
Yeah.
You're going to eventually adapt and you're going to eventually you'll reconcile that entire situation.
And I don't think we're, as humans, we're not appreciative of how smart our bodies are. If you can initiate that response, your body will get better at it every time.
Absolutely. Yeah. And feed it too.
Yeah.
If you're feeding yourself not good nutrients, it's not going to be a great, because you're going to feel tired. You're not going to have that energy that you need to move forward and make these smart decisions. And it really is, like, the body is absolutely amazing and people should be grateful just to be in a body, like be here, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And you can change your life radically in a day. You can change your mindset radically in a day.
Well, I think that one of the most important things you said was you created, and that create sort of that word is so important because you can create what you want. Create. Like, people think they get shoved into a box, but they just shove themselves into a box.
Exactly.
You can create whatever you want.
One of those that moment for me after that seminar I went to, I told you I changed my life. That was I was 30 years old. That was the first time in my life I realized that my life was my own.
Yeah.
And that is something that, to me, I thought that my life was predetermined. Mm-hmm. But what was happening is, with that mindset, is I would do the actions that were going to subconsciously do the actions that were going to determine that life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Mm-hmm. You know, that's not what you want.
No.
So, okay, the answer is do the things that, like, you need to do.
Yeah.
You know, don't complain about it. And then that shift, I mean, that for me was a very, very heavy moment because I thought I was predetermined to do a lot of things, not bad, but just not go on the path and undeserving of all that I've created. And then I sit back in awe sometimes and go, wow, I've created that from nothing.
Yeah.
And now I'm on a path where I am in control. Where before I was like, what's going to happen tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, what Sean's coming to work? We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that, just for me, just someone saying to me that my life is my own, just shifts everything.
I remember I had a good chat to my mum, and she's been a big advocate in doing affirmations.
Oh yeah, massive.
And when she first told me, I was a bit younger, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Are you kidding? I'm going to sit in a room and start saying words out loud."
Yeah.
And I started to do it, and I started to do it before soccer games. Small things like, you'll have a good game, or you'll score today. And I can remember being blown away by the things that were actually happening because I was putting it out there. And now I do them like religiously. I'll do it before a soccer game. I'll do it before, if I'm feeling a bit average in the morning, I'll do it while I'm having breakfast or something like that. Yeah, I find it massive.
Have you guys ever heard of a book called The Miracle Morning?
No.
By chance?
No, I haven't.
It's become like a massive movement, and I can't remember the author's name, but it is amazing. So what he does is 10-minute exercises when you get up in the morning, before you go do whatever you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
And step one is move the body, right? So 10 minutes of that. So stretch, then 10 minutes of a walk, then 10 minutes of affirmations, 10 minutes of meditation, then it's 10 minutes of scribing what you're grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another one as well, but I can't remember, to be honest. But I do those 5 every morning, and that gets me into a space where I'm like, I'm ready. Let's go. I've had my time. I've had my quiet time. I've now written some stuff down that I'm positive for, and let's go get it.
Yeah.
And those affirmations are a massive part of it. Just being, just mindfulness and grateful.
Yeah.
And tied in with affirmations and a plan, you're unstoppable.
Yeah.
Unstoppable.
Big time. Yeah.
I agree.
That's so cool. Yeah, that is a really good... So I recommend if you guys can get a chance to get onto that. They have a huge Facebook following.
Okay.
There's like 1.5 million people in this group. Like it's massive.
Shit.
Like, I was exposed. I'm a member of the Kerwin Ray group, which is the K2 Elite. And he came on as a guest speaker. And this dude that wrote it has been through like hell and back, cancer. He was going to die, and now he's running marathons and like just insane life story against all odds. And apparently, what he was saying is the main thing when the doctors were like, nah, like you are done. And he maintained a positive outlook. And he's not sure. He's like, I'm not sure what fixed it. He's like, I was never going to die in my mind, and I was happy. Mm-hmm. He's like, and on top of that, I was also looking at alternative options, Chinese medicine. He tried everything, and then he beat it.
Yeah.
And now he's like written this book and these practices he does every morning, and there's so many people that are benefiting from it. It's just amazing. And that's the thing. Like one person is now affecting 1.5 million people. That's only that are in the group.
Yeah.
Mm.
Imagine the rest of them the rest of the people that have gone through the process and aren't. Some people aren't comfortable enough to jump into a Facebook group. It's a bit sometimes a bit daunting for people. But yeah, everyone has that opportunity in life to make a difference. Well, how can everyone find your podcast?
So we're on Instagram and we're on Facebook. So it's just Off Your Mind Podcast, and also we're on Spotify, Google, iTunes.
Yep. All your podcasting platforms, pretty much.
Everywhere, mate. Everywhere.
Yeah, just
everywhere these days.
Well, I love the work you guys are doing. I love what you guys stand for and what your podcast stands for. You guys
so much.
Thanks,
have like a good, cool road ahead of you. Don't give up. It's going to be epic.
Yeah.
And I would love to come on your podcast one time and have you guys back maybe, towards the end of the year and check in and see how
things go.
How the year went, mate. See what happened.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks again.
Thanks
for having us,
guys.
Cheers.
Have a good one.
You too.